Hello all YouTubers, here is part 2 of the moving video. The day has arrived where I will be moving the tank to its new home in our new apartment. Thanks to everybody who left comments and notes on the last video about some suggestions. And let me just show you my process and what I'm going to be doing today. You can kind of see everything I have laid out, ready to go. Basically, all I'm going to be doing is breaking everything down, moving it and setting it back up, right? So we'll just start over here. I have a bunch of 5-gallon buckets. I will be transporting the water. I like to keep most of the water if possible, so it's less of a shock for my 2 clowns and for my snails. It's a 43-gallon system. There's probably like 35 gallons in here, so I think I'll take 30 gallons of water over in these buckets. And then in the new apartment, I already have fresh salt water that has been aerating and heating overnight, so I can use that to fill up the rest I need. I'll also basically just do a water change. I'm going to go over a little bit earlier to also make another 20 gallons of RODI water just as backup. I think it's always a good idea to have backup water that's up to temperature in case any sort of emergency. I'm going to be taking out my 2 clowns in one of these buckets, and I'm going to put a heater in there. I had an Ehan Jaeger 75 watt that I dropped yesterday that shattered, so I'm just going to be using my backup heater for my tank, which is a 200 watt. It's way too big. No, it's 125 watt. But I'm just going to set it to 78 degrees, and then I don't have an air stone, so I'm just going to take one of my MJ 1200s and circulate the water with the top off, and that should be good enough. So I'm going to take all the water out, all the live rock out, and move that over kind of first. Over here I have some cleaning supplies. I have some vinegar, so it's a really good time for me to do a clean. So I'm going to disassemble all the pumps, all the pipes, and I'm going to soak them for maybe an hour or so in the vinegar, and then do a big scrub. One thing I'm also going to do, which is just for aesthetic reasons, is the sand I bought has a lot of big pieces in there, and I'm honestly not a huge fan of them. So I have a colander, and I'm going to sift them out, sift through all the sand, and remove the big pieces. And then that'll also give me a chance. I have 5 sereth snails hiding down there. So as I encounter them, I'll take them and I'll put them into the heated and aerated 5-gallon bucket with the clowns and the other snails. So down over here, I'm just going to disconnect everything. I'm going to leave it all on my control board for now, but disconnect everything so I can just move the entire board. And then regarding down here, a lot of stuff to do. You know, I have my protein skimmer, my pumps, all my wiring, you know, everything in here. It's all going to be broken down, emptied out, cleaned, so that when I go over, everything will be kind of fresh and new. The thing I'm really most excited about is redoing my aquascape. I have some ideas for what I'm going to be doing on that. I don't want to move it around really once it's set up, so I'm going to do that today before I get any anemones or corals next month. So stay tuned for that. It should be pretty cool. And this is super heavy, even empty. I remember I had to have 2 people carry down the tank. So I have a friend of mine coming over to help me move this once it's empty. I would definitely not even try to lift this if there were rock or sand in it. I mean, there's 40 pounds of sand, there's probably 30 pounds of rock, maybe 25 pounds of rock in there. You know, the tank itself is probably somewhere around 100 pounds. So anyway, I'll have a friend come and help me move all this. My hope is that the clownfish and the snails will be in their bucket, you know, between 6 and 8 hours. I think it'll be fine. They'll have a big area. I'm not worried about ammonia or anything. You know, I'm not going to feed them just so there's nothing there. I think they'll be totally happy and totally fine. And when I get them to the new location and I get the stand set up, you know, I got the shims waiting over there so that I can level everything out. Got my level so that I can do that. And then I'll put the water back in, I'll heat it up, and it should be basically their same water. So every parameter should be the same. So I'm not worried too much about any sort of shock to the system. Anyway, that's part 2 of the video. Part 3 I will do when I get to the new apartment, and I'll show you the new setup and how things are going. Thanks for watching, everybody.